going to record this. So if you've got some colleagues that didn't make it and had planned on being there, Stephanie, who's on with me, will get you a link to the recording. My name's Dennis Smeltzer. I'm the president of TSANet. With me is Stephanie Benson. We've both been with the organization for quite some time. I actually was with it back when it got started back in 1993. And what we're going to do, TSANet has been one of these things that having everybody get sort of re-educated on it, and some of you have a decent amount of turnover and people moving from place to place within the support center. So it's good to have these, and we've always had really good attendance on it. This is not a very difficult thing at all, but it's good to kind of go through it. I've just got a few slides here that I want to give you some high-level stuff. We're actually going to go in and to the database and show you how you would place a call. So there's a tactical element to this as well that we'll go through and show you how all of this works. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, I've only got just a couple of slides. This is kind of what we're going to cover. And I kind of put this slide up here to talk about not so much what we are going to talk about, but what I'm not going to talk about. Because as you go through this list here, we'll talk about the organization and how the membership is set up, how you place calls. The one thing that's listed down here towards the bottom is case exchange. And that is the ability for you to be able to place calls electronically to other member companies, either by a connector, like a Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics or NetSuite, or through the member web itself. But you do have the ability, it's available to all the members. There's no additional charges or anything like that. And if you want to know about case exchange, more about it, really to get a hold of me or Paul or Stephanie, and we'll set up a separate call with you, because it deserves a little bit more attention. It's not a heavyweight thing. It's a real lightweight solution. A lot of companies are now going to it, but it's not something that I'm going to dig into here. What we want to do is let you know a little bit about TSANet and how to place calls, and then we'll we can cover case exchange on another call, and there is some stuff out there on the member web itself. I like to pull this slide up really because to give you kind of a level set about the organization, because this is a little bit different, right? We're not another vendor coming in trying to sell you services. We are a not-for-profit organization. We were formed that way, and the mission of this organization was to be able to provide a mechanism to the industry for companies to be able to collaborate and work with each other, and not finger point customers around, and multi-vendor environments. Now we've expanded on that, right? Our scope is become broader, but still the core goes to our member companies being able to work with each other. And we were set up to do that. This is a very member-driven organization. Everything that you're going to see today isn't something that TSANet came up with. It is something that the members said, we want you to do this for us. And I work for a board of directors. That board is elected by the membership. So when you become a member, if you go into what we call an open group membership, which is a basic or a premium level, then one company gets a vote. And that's the way the organization is set up. We've got strategy days that we have 3 times a year, starting next year, and the next one's going to be out in Raleigh, and we can get you more information on that. But we invite companies to come in and let us know what you would like us to do for you. So we've got a small global staff. We're up to over 500 member companies now, and the last 2 items down here, the operational framework is what I'm going to show you today. How do you place a call if you need to work and collaborate with another member company? How do you do that? We're going to go through that. The legal framework is something that I think everybody needs to understand for a couple of reasons. One is that it sets kind of a level playing field for everybody, because what we did was we went to all these big companies' lawyers and we got them to agree to a common set of verbiage. How are you going to handle confidential information if you're working with another member company? How do you handle intellectual property? So we got all these companies' legal teams to agree that this is how we're going to operate with each other. And what that becomes then is a foundation for you to be able to set up relationships very quickly or pull companies into a support relationship very quickly. And in fact, a lot of our member companies now have got a policy where they will not create any more cooperative support agreements. They will pull members into TSANet, maybe even into a custom group, which we'll talk about, but basically it becomes a very easy way for you to set up a support relationship with another company is just tell them join TSANet and you're done. So, and if you need to create another relationship, we've got the ability to do that because we've got this foundation of a legal agreement. So that's something important to kind of understand. These next two slides are the last two before I give you the demo. And this talks about the membership levels. And there's a few things, there's a lot of different companies on here that participate at different levels. So I want to cover all of this so that everybody understands. So when we formed this organization, one of the big key benefits to being a member was you join into one relationship, and now you can talk to a bunch of different companies and they can talk to you. And that morphed into what we now call an open group membership. And that goes into two categories, basic and premium TSANet. They're both open groups, but they do a little bit different things. So when you have a group like that, and in the basic TSANet, there's over 100 companies that are part of it, you're going to have both your partners in there that you need to collaborate with. You're likely to have your competitors in there as well. So in order for everybody to not get uptight about, oh, well, I might have to collaborate with my competitor, what we do is we set some parameters around what that engagement should be. And what we defined was that in order for you to be obligated to work with another member company or them to be obligated to work with you, there had to be a mutual customer in play. What that means is that typically is going to mean that is a customer that has a support relationship with you. And when you get into the basic and the premium TSANet and the differences, that becomes a key factor. In the basic TSANet, what we do is we say, this is a next business day type SLA that's in it. And in fact, it is. If your obligation, if you get a call in the basic TSANet, is to respond to that other member, and only if it's a SEV 1 call, you're obligated to respond back within the next business day. So it's more of a business day type relationship. In a premium TSANet, that requires 24/7. You've got higher level SLAs. It requires a global commitment. And by the way, the premium TSANet is a subset of the basic TSANet. And that becomes really important because just because you're a premium member doesn't necessarily mean you would use the premium relationship to contact another member company. And as an example of that, in the premium TSANet, we define a mutual customer as having 24/7 support entitlement. In the basic TSANet, we let each member company define what a mutual customer is. So if you've got a customer, say for example, that you want to work with it with another company and you're a premium member, if that customer is not entitled to 24/7 support, you won't be using the premium relationship to contact that member company. And we'll get in when I show you the demo about how you're going to find out the information that you need to get about that mutual customer before you call. But the key takeaway here is understand that there is the premium and the basic TSANet, and that there is a difference between the two. And just because you're a premium member doesn't necessarily mean you would use the premium relationship to contact another member company. Okay? So that's the open group. And most of you, excuse me, most of the people that are on this call are open group members. This is the next level of membership, and it's kind of in addition to the open group membership, or it can be done a couple of different ways. But here's the high level on this. What happened was the membership said, well, you know, you've got this basic and premium TSANet. That works really well for about 90% of the companies that I need to work with. But the reality is that sometimes I get in a situation where I need to have something a lot more strategic than that. So the member companies came back and said, we want to still use TSANet, but the basic or premium relationship doesn't quite cut it for what I need to do with this. Or I've got this solution for my customers, and I need a much higher level of engagement. So we created the ability for the member companies to use the TSANet legal structure and the operational framework, but basically for them to host their own relationships or set up a one-to-one relationship with another company. And this has become what we call custom groups. And most of the premium members are now actually participating in at least one custom group. But it gives you the ability to basically set the elements of the relationship. So you can say the mutual customer thing, I want to have it, or no, I don't, or whatever you want. You set the elements of the relationship, and then you define who is part of that relationship. So you define the companies that you want to have that relationship with. And this has kind of formed itself into two different areas called peer groups and the partner groups. Peer groups could be a simple one-to-one relationship with a strategic partner that I want to have, or I've got a customer solution that I'm putting out, and I've got several companies that are actually partaking in that. So I want a many-to-many group where we're all agreeing to collaborate with each other at a very high level. And I'll give you some examples of that when we go in and look at the member web itself. The other area that this has also morphed itself into is in the partner groups. So you've got companies that got their partner programs, and they want to have some kind of mechanism on the support side to be able to engage and work with each other. So what they'll do is they'll actually form a custom group, and from their perspective, it's a hosted one-to-many relationship with all their partners. And from the partner's perspective, it's a simple one-to-one with the company that I'm working with. We make it very easy for those companies to join into. I'll give you an example of a landing page that you can send your partners to, and it's actually totally automated if you wanted it to be that way. But we're working with a lot of companies now to get their partners into these custom groups so that they have that support mechanism in place for them. So I'm going to go away from the slides for a minute here. I want to go to the database and show you. And I apologize because I had a problem getting on the call, so this is going to take just a second here. Get me set up. I'm going to log in as EMC. And you can see here what I've got is this is the member web. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get into the member web. We've got group login capabilities. You could have an individual login. You need to go to find out if you need help in finding out who your contact is for TSANet in your company, let us know and we'll get that for you. But once you get in here, basically what you've got here is this space up here called your My TSANet space. And this is just simply a shortcut to what you're going to see down here in the member directory. And by the way, in the member directory, what we've also got down here is whoever the key person is within your company, they're going to be listed right down here. But what I can do, and you're going to see if I click on all here, there's a lot of companies in here. Some of them are highlighted and some of them are not. Well, it's because of this partner group, the limited custom groups that they've got a lot of partners, that these companies are TSANet members, but you don't have a relationship with them. And in this case, it's EMC. So, but because they're already members, if you did want to have a relationship with them, very easy for us to set them up and get them to come into a relationship with you. But the ones that are highlighted, I have some kind of relationship with, and I can even take and filter this out to where I can see all these companies. These are the companies that I've got a relationship with. Now again, I'm logged in as EMC. This company, what I can see here, it may be that I have the basic or the premium TSANet relationship with them, or maybe I have a custom group with them as well. So it really depends on how your company is set up and how they're using TSANet. I'm going to give you this example, which I typically do is Microsoft. So a typical scenario would be a call's come in. I need to work with Microsoft. I've got a mutual customer in play here. What it's going to do is it's going to pull up, and this is actually using a new feature that we just put out with the wizard. You can see this is the custom groups that I've got up here. And then if I want to now, what I can do is I can say, well, has the customer got 8-to-5 entitlement or do they have 24/7 entitlement? And let's say that I find out, I'm talking to the customer, what kind of relationship do you have with Microsoft? I can find out, then I can select the region, we'll say America. And didn't even ask me for the products because Microsoft is working with all the different products. And it's going to pull up what we call a contact document. And this is very simple. It says, this is the information I need about the common customer before before I call. Here's how I want you to call. In this case, they're actually giving you a code, and then there's an escalation path down here. I want to give you some contrast to this. So that was the basic TSANet. Now, if I go to the premium TSANet, so now that customer may be entitled to 24/7 support. And this is kind of, I'm trying to drive home that point I was trying to make earlier about just because you're a premium member doesn't necessarily mean you would use the premium relationship. If I go back through the same thing, and this time I click on 24/7, and I go back to the Americas, what I'm going to get now is a different document that's given me a different path. And they're basically saying, make sure that customer's got this level of support. Call, preferably have them on the line, which is a little bit unusual. But once they've established where that call needs to go, then the customer could drop off, and you'd end up collaborating and working with the company. Then down here's your escalation path. So I just wanted to kind of give you an example of how that works and the difference between the basic and the premium TSANet. But essentially, it's that simple, right? It's you're going to go in, you're going to pick the member company that you want to engage and work with, and they're going to basically tell you, this is how I want you to do that. One company that we've not put the wizard in, so I can give you an example of how they're set up. Let's go to Citrix. And just so you can see, this is the interface that doesn't use the wizard. It's basically just going to give me these different tiles. It's essentially the same thing. These are the departments, and then here is the basic or the premium TSANet. And again, you're going to get a contact document. They're going to tell you how you should engage them. Contact documents are all standard format. Okay, another example, this is a custom group example. And I'll go to this one. This is a partner program that EMC runs called Tech Connect. So all of their engineers that work with their partners. So what we've done with custom groups is we actually take you to a microsite. And on that microsite, you can have training exchange, knowledge exchange articles. You can get down to defining who sees that, who's notified of it, who can post information. There's all sorts of different things you can do there with a microsite that our member companies have wanted us to do. So we've kind of improved that area. But when it comes to collaboration, then here's all my partners. So if they need to engage and work with one of their partners, all their partners are right here in one area. And they've all come into TSANet in a one-to-one relationship, in this case with EMC. So I give you an example. Here is a landing page. So if a partner was told, hey, you need to join TSANet, you need to join into my group, then we've actually come in here, and this is a VMware partner page for their TAP program. So the company would come in here and they would just go through and fill out the information, and by the time they get finished with it, it sends an email off to VMware, in this case, sends an email to TSANet. We're talking with somebody on that side. Once they say green light go, we push a button and that member's automatically put into the relationship. So kind of give you an idea, but what I wanted to cover again was how custom groups work, a little bit about the difference between the basic and the premium TSANet, and give you an idea of what the capabilities are. So looks like we got time for Q&A. Let me go back to my slides for just this last slide here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I think these are sort of the key things, right? Understand that we're an organization, a not-for-profit company that's set up to serve you, right? Understand that there are different relationships, including custom groups, and the custom groups can have a totally different set of elements. And again, the point here is to raise customer satisfaction and not finger point customers. This is probably one of the most frustrating things that you hear from your customer base is, that's not my problem, call somebody else. You do have that escalation path down for every contact document. If that doesn't work, that's what we're here for. So get a hold of TSANet. And if there's a problem with the contact document, we've even done some things there where you can actually give the name of somebody. So if for whatever reason you get a hold of somebody that doesn't know anything about TSANet, you can say, well, within your company, here's the contact person. Okay. Again, you can also get a hold of TSANet if you got problems. Don't give up. let us know, because we can't fix problems unless we know about them. And our job is to make sure that these companies are doing what they said that they would do. We do a lot of stuff for our member companies, and we try to keep it updated. We've got at least 2 releases of the member web every year. There's all sorts of stuff up on the TSANet website if you'd like to go. Anybody have any questions before we let you get back to your day?
I've just had somebody message me, Dennis, with one question about the length of time to set up a custom group.
Okay, and that's really, actually, it depends a little bit on the custom group.
I don't know whether the other people can hear me because I'm just a panelist, so you might want to repeat the question in case.
I will, but I believe they can hear you. The question was, how long does it take to set up a custom group? And it really depends on the custom group, but for the most part, we've got templates in place, and unless you want to do something drastically different than all the rest of the industry, usually I can do it within a couple of days. We can have it set up. We can have your partners come in. We do a lot of co-branding stuff. So it's really trying to get with you to set up, okay, give me your logo or tell me about the program so we can put information out there for your partners to come in to set it up. But really very easy for me to set up a custom group. And if you're a basic or a premium member, there's no charge, right? Those are things that come with that membership level. Any other questions? You see anything else, Stephanie? Any other questions that you see?
I can't see any at the moment, Dennis.
That sounds good. Okay, well, we're just about giving up the half hour anyway. I want to thank everybody. Again, get a hold of us here, membership@tsanet.org, or you can email me or Stephanie directly, Dennis@tsanet.org or Stephanie@tsanet.org. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Bye-bye.